Hey there, welcome back to my kitchen. So for Christmas this year, my dad actually got us this new crock pot and I was just so excited to use it. So this week I put together a crock pot video for you. It's the perfect time of year anyways for crock pot recipes. So let's go ahead and get started today and I will show you what I made. First up today, we are going to make a creamy taco soup. You just cannot go wrong with taco soup, I feel like. So to begin, in this crock pot, I'm adding 2 chicken breasts, half of a chopped yellow onion, 1 can of diced tomatoes with green chilies, 2½ cups of low sodium chicken broth, about 1/4 cup of frozen corn. You can add more than this, we just don't like a lot of corn in here, 3 tablespoons of taco seasoning, 1 can of black beans that I drained and rinsed, and a ½ teaspoon of garlic salt. At this point, I'm just going to give it a slight mix just to kind of mix the juices together and get the taco seasoning spread throughout, but obviously it's not going to be perfect until the chicken cooks. But then I'm just going to add the lid and I'm going to cook this on a high heat for about 4 hours, or you can cook it on a low heat for 5 to 6 hours. After about 3½ hours, I actually went ahead and pulled the chicken out and shredded it up. After shredding the chicken, just add it right back into your crock pot. Next, you'll add in 1 8-ounce block of cream cheese. I went ahead and just cut mine up into smaller cubes, that way it would be easier to mix in and kind of melt throughout. If you are someone who does not like cream cheese in crock pot recipes, just leave it out. If you want to, you could add a little bit of heavy cream in here, or half and half, that would work too. Or just go without, like I said, you can eat it plain. You might just have to adjust the seasonings a little bit to your liking. Here is what my finished bowl looked like. I just went ahead and let that cream cheese sit in there for about another hour. And then once it was done, I topped it with some sour cream and shredded cheddar cheese. This turned out so good. It is perfect for this time of year with the chilly weather, and it really just hits the spot. Next up, we're doing some barbecue chicken drumsticks in the crock pot. This is something that my husband loves, and I try to make it every once in a while for him, even though I'm not a huge fan of barbecue sauce. So into this little bowl, I am adding in a ½ teaspoon of garlic powder, a ½ teaspoon of onion powder, a ½ teaspoon of paprika, a ½ teaspoon of salt, and about 1/4 teaspoon of pepper. I'm just going to get that mixed together and set that aside for just a minute. Now onto this cutting board, I have 5 drumsticks. This was just under 2 pounds of drumsticks, I believe. I did remove the skin and then I added them straight into my crock pot and lined them up in a row. Next, I'm taking that seasoning mixture that we made and just sprinkling that over the tops of those. I took a fork to just kind of roll them around in the seasoning a little bit since the other side didn't get super seasoned. But when you're eating these, you don't even notice because the flavor is just all throughout. Next, I'm adding on some barbecue sauce. Any kind will do. This Kraft barbecue sauce I got for 99 cents, but you can use a more expensive one if you prefer, or any type of flavor, any type of spice level, it doesn't matter, whatever you like. I'm just going to add about a ½ cup to 3/4 cup of barbecue sauce over top of these, and then use my brush to make sure that the barbecue sauce is covering them all over. Add the lid on and let this go for about 3 to 4 hours on a high heat, or you can cook it on a low heat for 4 to 6 hours. As you can see, the chicken was literally falling off the bone at this point. That is how I like to eat chicken on the bone. I am very weird about chicken texture and chicken bones and things like that, so it has to be falling off the bone for me to be able to enjoy it. But once it is done, I added them onto a baking sheet with a little bit of aluminum foil, that way they will not stick, and also just easy cleanup in general. I'm brushing over some more barbecue sauce over the tops of these, And then I'm putting them into the oven on broil for about 4 or 5 minutes until they start to get nice and gooey, and you will start to notice they get a little bit darker in color. Here is what my finished plate looked like. I made some corn on the cob and I just cut that off of there. And I also made some mashed potatoes to go along with this. This is just a perfect meal. This meal is super kid friendly, so if you do have picky kids, maybe try this one out. But overall, I think everyone in the family can enjoy this. And now we're going to be making this beef and noodle recipe. My mom actually made this when we were back home visiting in October, and me and my husband both loved it. So into my crock pot, I am adding 1.5 pounds of beef stew meat. You can also just cook a roast in here and shred that up, but this was a little bit cheaper to do this time. Then I'm adding in 2 10-ounce cans of cream of mushroom soup, or you can use the big 26-ounce can. The difference in the ounces really won't make that big of a difference. 1 can of cream of celery soup, 1 teaspoon of this beef bouillon, 1 box of beef broth, 1 whole stick of butter, and then I'm just going to take my spoon and kind of give this a little bit of a mix. It looks disgusting at this point, I'm not gonna lie, but it will taste really good, so just keep going with it. I'm cooking this on a high heat for about 5 hours, but you can honestly let this go for 7 or 8 hours on a low heat to get that meat super duper tender. I just didn't have enough time this day. Here's what it'll look like after about 5 hours in the crock pot. Everything kind of comes together. You'll just want to give it a little bit of a mix and then add in your noodles. For this, I am using some noodles I picked up when I was back home in Amish country. They are just very wide homemade egg noodles. You can get similar noodles at Walmart, or you can actually use the Reams egg noodles. I really love using the Reams egg noodles, those are my favorite, but this time I really wanted to use these Amish noodles. Let your noodles cook in here for another hour to an hour and a half until they are nice and tender, and then this is ready to eat. Just be sure to salt and pepper to your liking. I honestly did not add a lot of extra seasoning here. It's already pretty salty, I just added a little bit of pepper. Here is what my finished plate looked like. At this point, my meat was so tender, melt in your mouth, absolutely delicious. But overall, this is a major comfort food, and I will definitely make this again. Thank you guys so much for watching today and being here for yet another video. Please leave a flower down in the comments below if you did make it all the way to the end, and I will see you guys back here on Wednesday with a new video. Bye!